Alright, here we're told to find the common ratio and then the next three terms in the geometric sequence. So we don't have to decide if it's a geometric series. We know it is. I mean sequence. Alright, so to do that we can take any two terms in sequence and divide them, and we'll come up with the common ratio. So the common ratio here, I'm going to take the 24 and the 4, and we end up with 6. So that's our common ratio. Now to find the next term in the sequence, we're simply going to take 24 and multiply it times 6. So when we multiply 24 times 6, we end up with 144. Okay, so this would, if we were doing the a sub, that would a sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3, so this would actually be a sub 4. So, and then to find a sub 5, we'll take 144, multiply it times 6, and we'll get 864. So that's a sub 5. And then to come up with the next term in the sequence, we take 864, multiply it times 6, and we end up with 5184. Okay, so that's going to be a sub 6. Okay, so we found the next three terms in the sequence, and they just keep increasing by a factor of 6, so we keep multiplying by 6. Okay, now if we look at number 8, we're going to end up with a fraction as our common ratio. That's okay. We'll take r, again we'll take any two terms in sequence, so we'll take 3 over 2. We could do 9 halves over 3, but you may get confused with the fractions, but we'll just use 3 halves as our common ratio. Alright, and so we're told to find the next three terms. So we're going to find a sub 4 for this one. So that'll be 3 halves, which is our common ratio, times 9 halves. Okay, so we'll end up multiplying the top, multiply the bottom, so we end up with 27 over 4. Okay, so that's a sub 4. A sub 5 would be 27 over 4 times 3 halves. 3 halves is our common ratio. Okay, and so when we multiply that, we end up with 81 over 8. Okay, then a sub 6, take the 81 over 8, multiply it times 3 halves. Again, this is our common ratio, the 3 halves. Okay, and then for that one, we end up with 243 over 16. Okay, so that's the next terms in the sequence. Alright, so now here in number 9, we're given decimals. So let's figure out what our common ratio is. We can take any two terms in sequence, but if you notice, we're going from a positive number to a negative number back to a positive number. So that means our common ratio is going to be negative. I'm going to go ahead and just take these two. So I'm going to take negative 7.2, divide by 1.8. Okay, since it's already in decimal form, if we happen to end up with a decimal, I'll just leave it. But we don't. We end up with negative 4 as our common ratio. Okay, and so to find a sub 4, we'll take the common ratio of negative 4 and multiply it times the 28.8. Okay, so when we multiply that together, we end up with a negative 115.2. Okay, so then a sub 5, we'll take the our common ratio of negative 4 again and multiply it times negative 115.2. Now we'll end up with a positive number, so that's going to be equal to 460. Give us a little bit more room. 0.8. Okay, and then a sub 6 will be negative 4, because again this is our common ratio, so it's increasing. We're multiplying it by 4 each time to come up with the next term in the sequence. Multiply those together and we get negative 1843.2. Okay, so to come up with the common ratio, we take any two terms in sequence and we divide them, and we come up with our common ratio, and then we multiply that number times the previous number to get the next number in the sequence.